How to write an abstract of a research paper. 4 steps to write an abstract. What is an abstract? An abstract is a short summary of a longer work such as a dissertation or a research paper. The abstract concisely reports the aims and outcomes of your research so that readers know exactly what the paper is about. An abstract is usually around 150 to 300 words, but there is often a strict word limit, so make sure to check the requirements of the university or journal in a dissertation or thesis. The abstract is on a separate page after the title page and acknowledgements, but before the table of contents. When to write an abstract? You will always have to include an abstract when writing a thesis, dissertation, research paper, or submitting an article to an academic journal. In all cases, the abstract is the very last thing you write. It should be a completely independent, self-contained text, not copied from your paper or dissertation. An abstract should be fully understandable on its own to someone who hasn't read your full paper or related sources. The easiest approach to writing an abstract is to imitate the structure of the larger work. Think of it as a miniature version of your dissertation or research paper. 4 key steps of writing an abstract. In most cases, the abstract should contain 4 key elements. 1. Your research problem and objectives. 2. Your methods. 3. Your key results or arguments. 4. Your conclusions. Now let's learn about the 4 steps in developing an abstract. Step 1. Add research problem and objective. The first sentence establishes the topic and main problem that the research addresses. For example, USA environmental organizations currently face a significant funding gap. Next, the specific objective of the research is stated. For example, this study aims to determine how such representations can be better targeted in order to increase donations. Specifically, it investigates whether the perceived social distance between victims and potential donors has an impact on donation intention. Add definition. If your abstract uses specialized terms that would be unfamiliar to the research academic readers or that have various different meanings, then give a concise definition. For example, in this context, social distance is defined as the extent to which people feel they are in the same social group, in-group or another social group, out-group relation to climate change victims. Add hypothesis. The study's hypothesis is clearly stated. For example, to test the hypothesis that smaller social distance leads to higher donation intention. Step 2. Add methods. The next step is a brief description of the methods used. For example, an online survey was distributed to potential donors based across the UK. Respondents were randomly divided into 2 conditions, large and small social distance, and asked to respond to one of 2 sets of fundraising material. Responses were analyzed using a 2-sample t-test. Step 3. Add results. The most relevant results are summarized. For example, the results showed a small effect in the opposite direction than hypothesized. Large social distance was associated with higher donation intention than small social distance. Step 4. Add conclusion. Finally, the study's main conclusions are stated, showing how the results answer the study's objective. As this research focused on a practical problem, it also includes a recommendation. For example, these results suggest that potential donors are more likely to respond to campaigns depicting victims that they perceive as socially distinct from themselves. On this basis, the concept of social distance should be taken into account when designing environmental fundraising campaigns. Example of an abstract. First, write your problem. Start by clearly defining the purpose of your research. What practical or theoretical problem does the research respond to, or what research question did you aim to answer? After identifying the problem, state the objective of your research. Use verbs like investigate, test, analyze, or evaluate to describe exactly what you set out to do. This part of the abstract can be written in the present or past simple tense, but should never refer to the future as the research is already completed. Add definition. If your abstract uses specialized terms, give a concise definition. Add hypothesis. The study's hypothesis is clearly stated here. Next, indicate the research methods that you use to answer your question. This part should be a straightforward description of what you did in 1 or 2 sentences. It is usually written in the past simple tense as it refers to completed actions. Next, summarize the main research results. This part of the abstract can be in the present or past simple tense. Finally, state the main conclusion of your research. What is your answer to the problem or question? The reader should finish with a clear understanding of the central point that your research has proved or argued. Conclusions are usually written in the present simple tense.